things got a little heated.
In the blue-collar working sector, in the essential jobs, and many of us don't have the option that we all had, which was to do our jobs virtually.
All right, so in the first 20 minutes of this, she filibustered and waffled about her statements. But if you've been paying attention to this, Ebony K. Williams continues to double and triple down on some statements she made, but she got a surprise in store for her this time. She wasn't even expecting.
So we are on the front lines in a way that disproportionately makes us vulnerable. We're dying because of it. That is my issue, not to disrespect these people.
I feel like you're changing the goalposts, right? What people were upset about was what you said, and everything that you said could absolutely positively be true. People were upset that they felt like that you were putting down the average person, quote unquote average job, and the person that was working the average job, that their what they do is not as good as what you do.
That's a projection, Envy. No, that's a projection. Because I'll let
you speak.
Go ahead,
Let me talk,
go ahead,
please.
Envy. Yeah.
So when you start talking about all this,
Perception is reality, by the way.
And I read the comments just like you did because I wanted to prepare myself when you came up here to understand what people were mad about.
Yeah.
And understand what people were upset about. So when you're talking about all this brother this and the black man this and the white supremacy this and this, that, and the other, that's all to the side of how you felt about that quote unquote average job, right? And I'll be honest with you, right? And one of the comments that I said, and maybe I'm not sure, right? The guy was like, you talk about all this about lifting a brother up and lifting this up and white supremacy and what you do for our people. And then the first thing the brother said was, but your fiance was white. And I'm sitting there like, how do you talk about how much you're uplifting and how much you're going for black people, but that's not necessarily what you're even looking for?
Well, first of all,
paging Dr. Umar, damn.
Well, let's address it. And let's not skip a beat.
You don't find that suspicious?
Let's not skip a beat. So I would love to know how you, Envy, know what I'm looking for, because we never had the conversation.
I don't know. I'm telling you what people are saying on comments what I've read, and I'm talking for them. I'm not a bus driver. I'm speaking for the average person out there, because I feel for them, because the bus drivers and the average person are what keeps these lights on here on the Breakfast Club. That's right. They keep me booking shows.
Nobody is saying, okay, first of all, this is not about you booking shows.
I'm just telling you how I feel. So when you shit on the people that ride with me,
Envy, you're dead ass wrong for framing it as me shitting on them.
You don't think I'm on them?
I know it. First of all, I know it wasn't. I think what you're saying right now is irresponsible. I think what you're saying is irresponsible.
Wait, now what he's saying is irresponsible, but what you said in the previous videos was not irresponsible. You gotta be kidding me.
How people feel? Do you listen to the calls, how people feel?
I think what you are framing right now in this moment is highly irresponsible.
How?
Because if you listen, I'm going to tell you. Because if you were to listen to all of the full Yana interview, the full sidebar.
Mind you, she thinks everybody didn't listen to the full Yana interview. We all heard it. We heard what you said, Ebony. And this is the cleanup of it, the spin of it. We understand your spinning, but insult our intelligence and say you weren't being insulting to the working class and average black men in particular.
Full episode of Holding Court. Nowhere in any of that commentary did I say a cross or negative word about the working class of black America, of America broadly, or black men. I'm going to get to the why was my fiance. Envy, let me finish this statement.
Do you know what people feel?
I'm going to get to.
Just because you didn't mean to hurt somebody, just because you didn't mean to affect somebody, doesn't mean you didn't hurt a community.
I don't say
anything about somebody and be like, I didn't mean to hurt you. But if you hurt people, you hurt people. If people feel a way about you, they feel a way about you, because those people that you talked about are the people that buy your books, that listen to this show, and they're hurt.
That watch the griot, like I said in the last video.
Ebony, what about words like average, mediocrity, typical, and the bigotry or low expectations? I think those are the words that hurt the working class.
You can sit here and say, no, I didn't hurt nobody. You hurt people out there that buy your books and follow you and support you.
You asked me to be quiet. Y'all, please.
She thought she was coming to the Breakfast Club to get a softball interview. Like I said, in the beginning of the interview, she was doing 20 minutes of filibustering, 20 minutes of PR work. Now, she about to get that one.
Please, y'all asked me to be quiet. I listened to your full statement.
Just because you didn't mean to hurt somebody, just because you didn't mean to affect somebody, doesn't mean you didn't hurt a community. I can say anything about somebody and be like, I didn't mean to hurt you. But if you hurt people, you hurt people. If people feel a way about you, they feel a way about you, because those people that you talked about are the people that buy your books, that listen to this show, and they're hurt.
Ebony, what about words like average, mediocrity, typical, and the bigotry of low expectations? I think those are the words that hurt the working class.
You can sit here and say, no, I didn't hurt nobody. You hurt people out there that buy your books and follow you and support you.
You asked me to be quiet. Y'all, please. Y'all asked me to be quiet. I listened to your full statement. I understand you have a feeling about it.
And now that you talked for 22 minutes, and I just spoke for 60 seconds.
She is here to talk to him.
I know, but I'm just saying, I just spoke for 60 seconds.
We got ours off already. Let Ebony talk.
I'm just returning what she said.
But
don't act like I didn't let her speak. She spoke for 22 minutes.
Go ahead, Ebony. Let her talk. Don't do that. Let her go. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Envy, man. I've never seen Envy like this, man. I think a lot of people in the comments were even saying, like, Envy needs to be on this time. But, you know, you start talking about his working class people, you know, he always is proud of his father and his rise, you know what I mean? So, yeah, you hit him where it lives. And this is what a lot of people are reflecting back to you, Ebony. I hope you realize, I hope you can rewatch these moments and understand where the frustration is coming from and understand that it's warranted. Just because you say it isn't warranted and just because you say you meant something else, your communication is off. If what you're saying is that you meant to say this in a different way, you missed the mark. That's all anybody is saying. You missed the mark.
So, Envy, this is where we're different. My primary focus and goal when I do what I do in the world is not to protect feelings. I'm gonna be candid with you. I understand it's clear from the energy that there is an emotional attack that you felt was on Black men, the working class, and Black America. I'm gonna hold the space for the hurt feelings around that. But more than I care about hurt feelings, I care about providing my people with facts and information that say that the current way of life for the majority of Black Americans is not serving us. I'm going off of the data and the facts. That is, I am not okay, and I don't think it's okay that the vast majority of Black Americans, again, overpopulate, disproportionately occupy spaces that are not ideal, that make us vulnerable. I talked about the COVID, that make us vulnerable to death, disease, maternal health, all the things that y'all all talk about on this show every day. Now, if y'all are
you got to remember she's a lawyer, so she's going to use her words, or she's going to attempt to use her words.
With the current positioning of Black America, that we are the lowest income, the lowest home ownership, the lowest educated group, then so be it. And let's just stop talking now and keep on going about our business. Envy, I'm not okay with it. So that is why I said what I said about addressing the bigotry of low expectations. It's the bigotry of low expectations.
A quote attributed to George Bush, but she tried to tap dance around that too, that she was getting her quotes from George Bush. She went to the source of where George Bush got his quote. But in fact, George Bush was the one who made the bigotry of low expectations a popular quote. So you can't say you're going around George Bush.
Is the reason why I have to submit that Black men are now going to HBCUs and college and generally at half the rate of Black girls and women. I don't think that's okay.
Shouldn't we address the system that put us in these positions?
We are addressing the system. But
thank you, Charlamagne. Give a point for Charlamagne right there. This was excellent because they did not allow her to dance for too long.
But first we have to name it, Charlamagne. See, that's where people's feelings are getting hurt. Is the fact that I am naming it. I am saying that it is not okay to bring C's and D's through to your home and then expect to go on to higher education and acquire a higher skill set. And when you say that, that is hurtful to people, Envy. I'm acknowledging the pain. But somebody has got to start telling the truth to our people. And some of y'all wonder why you get the political representation y'all get, because some folks would rather.
Sounds very conservative to me. I mean, I'm just going to say it. It's a very conservative talking point. Maybe we're dealing with a conservative here. She needs to just come out and say that, if that's the case. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a conservative.
They hear things that make them feel good than understand and hear the things that are the truth. So let's talk about average, mediocre, and typical, because a lot of people felt a way about it. Well, I looked it up. I did the service of pulling it up out of Merriam-Webster. So this is not Ebony shitting on anybody, Envy. This is simply to say when you do something average.
See, that hit her. That hit her. When he said she was shitting on people, now she gets offended.
By definition, it is of typical value. It is normal and it is standard. When you are regular, normal, acceptable. When you are mediocre, that would have people real hot. It means ordinary, medium, commonplace, and moderate.
And the bigotry, don't forget the bigotry of low expectations.
I'm gonna get to that. That's an academic study, okay? So those of you that think that's George W. Bush, go do your reading. Go do your reading. But let's talk about those words, Charlamagne. Nothing in there says you ain't shit. Nothing in there says it's bad.
Yeah, Envy is not having it. He is not having it. Envy's face.
Go do your reading. Go do your reading. But let's talk about.
Once again, she's talking down to people, talking about go do your reading, go do your reading. Like, you don't think people read other than you? This is the problem. This is elitist talk. This is her talking down from the mountain, obviously talking pure horse shit.
Those words, Charlamagne. Nothing in there says you ain't shit. Nothing in there says it's bad or low or beneath.
They've applied the negative connotation to those
That's
words.
a projection, and I'm not going to stand for it because you need to be.
No, you had a chance to clear it up and you didn't. That's the problem. You doubled down on what you were saying. So you meant what you said, and people took it how they took it for a reason. We wouldn't be having this conversation if they didn't.
So when you say regular, hardworking, everyday people, Charlamagne, that is rhetorically not any different than me saying average, mediocre work.
I
not
disagree
the
because
individual.
those words can be weaponized. Just like the word basic has been
Okay,
weaponized.
yeah,
I can call y'all basic. I can call y'all basic B's,
But
and
that's
y'all
what I'm
be
saying. But there's a
upset.
negative connotation.
You
It's
call
why
me mediocre, I'm out the room.
But
That
it's
is
why.
her-
But also,
See, I made a whole
negative.
song called I don't want no mediocre.
But also, we've done that with the N-word. We've done it with the word whore. There's negative connotations to.
And you know, it's funny, the worlds collide. I literally was doing a video on these two right here, Mandy and Wheezy from Horrible Decision. Go check that video out. It's right before the Ebony K. Williams videos start. So hilarious. They've got their own issues, but they were right on, for the most part, right on track with this because they come from working class backgrounds. Their parents were working class, just like pretty much all of us that come from black communities, except for a very small percentage of it.
A lot of words, and if someone calls it to you, I get that. But
We
even with
reclaim the word whore. You
get
are
it.
talking about something
no,
totally different.
But what I'm saying is,
Nobody is reclaiming
when she
average
brought
and
up-
mediocre.
Even when she brought up C's and D's in school, academically, a C says you're average.
That's exactly
I
what
don't
it
know.
means.
I don't know
And people
why
have a
that's a
problem.
Give her a
problem
little
being
bell.
average.
Because people,
if you're
Mandy,
okay accepting
Mandy,
C's.
I'm going to
Because I
tell
don't think
you.
essential workers are average. I don't think
First
essential
of all,
workers are
Charlamagne,
average.
let me finish this statement.
First of all, Charlamagne is tearing her ass up a little bit.
I think
Because
Uber
part of-
drivers, bus drivers, I don't think any of those people are average or mediocre.
I'm not saying that the people are average. So let's slow it
I don't
down.
think the job is average.
The job is
Mediocre.
average.
I don't think
the
so.
job is average by definition. It says that most people can do it per the skill set. It also speaks to the income it commands. It speaks to scarcity and demand.
But they're essential as a workforce. They are essential.
That's
Say
what we're
about the
talking
people
about.
that are holding college degrees that have to drive Uber right now because
They're
they can't
doing
get
Thank you.
mediocre work. So Weezy, let me
Master's
be very
degree.
clear as to what I'm not saying. No, y'all got to listen to this.
Oh,
I am
we
not
gotta
saying
listen.
that a piece of paper makes you a more valuable individual. I didn't say that. I don't believe that. I prove it to you. I let a lawyer go because when I was ready to go, where I was trying to go and vacation with him, sir, your particular way of practicing law did
talking
not
about
allow
dating now.
provision and protection.
But I think it's worth.
She tried to take it off dating, but she said, I let a lawyer go. I was thinking it was an employee originally, but she's talking about she dropped a man because he couldn't go on vacation with her. Where have we heard that before on the internet? You see what I'm saying? Like, she is fully indoctrinated with internet culture. And I'm not ashamed of that because, hey, I'm working here on the internet. But, like, just acknowledge where you're coming from and admit this stuff does not hold up against real life. The stuff that the rhetoric that she's bringing from the internet does not hold up against real life. A lot of these women have been having these talking points for a long time, and really, they're in a vacuum. They're in a bubble. They don't understand what exists outside of them. When it comes up against real conversation, when it comes up against real opposition, it doesn't hold up.
That's the real question is if C's and D's aren't good enough and you're saying that
Do
a
you
higher
think C's and
education
D's are good
what
enough?
I'm saying is you're saying a higher education also doesn't mean that, then what do they have to do to be excellent? Because
exceptional.
I'm someone who
Right.
did have C's, B's, A's. I own
Right.
3 businesses. I'm sitting here with all y'all and shit, we all make 7 figures. Maybe I'm on the lower end of this as a mediocre person. It's like
you don't know what I make. I don't make that kind of money.
I mean,
Why are you lying?
He probably makes 8.
Listen, you couldn't tell him about
Weezy,
so,
but
I mean-
Weezy, did you hear my story
fair.
about my mother? Weezy, she doesn't have a college degree. My grandfather didn't, but she never did it.
I
no,
did
no,
hear about
she
your
did.
mom.
Right, so she's not mediocre, not because, but when she drove that bus, she was doing mediocre work. We can call her up and she'll say that.
So your mom actually drives a bus, man. Yana is a genius. She tapped into her spiritual being and picked the one profession that you have an actual connection to, and you still could not understand the message she was trying to teach you. You know what I'm saying? There needs to be more teaching going on and less talking at this point. It seems like.
And that is the first.
Because this is all coming off as immature. honestly, this is really just Ebony is in her immaturity bag right now.
But what do they have to do to surpass?
I'm sorry, I'm gonna let her talk, man, because I know I'm interrupting, but this is an important conversation. But she represents so many women with these same immature beliefs and immature talking points. And they do not realize how ignorant they sound because we don't push back against it a lot of times. We let them languish in their ignorance. And it's about time they start getting some pushback. As soon as they get some pushback, what they gonna say? You're women bashing, That's the narrative that's been going.
Mediocre, not because, but when she drove that bus, she was doing mediocre work. We can call her up and she'll say that. And it's the framing.
But what do they have to do to surpass it then for you?
You have to do something, not for me.
But by
this
your standards, because if Charlamagne is saying it's not mediocre or average, and the people listening feel like they're not, by your...
Okay, I just want people to stand on it. I want people to stand on it. If you are a person, and we're talking about Black America, and you feel as if you have maxed out your skill set, whether it's in the classroom or when you wake up in the morning and do whatever it is that you do, then God bless you, and I support and love you. I am talking to Black people that I know have a potential skill set that is untapped. So that's the difference between mediocre and exceptional. Not the piece of paper, not even the income. It's, are you complicit and complacent in what you are doing currently, or are you willing to go above and beyond and do the thing that most people won't do? By definition, Weezy, that's where exception lies.
Could be the nurse that drives Uber on the side. I think that's why.
Right.
My father was a military. He was a mechanic. He was a bus driver. He was a police officer.
So he was exceptional. Your father was exceptional.
My mother worked at Guardian Life Insurance. I'm the first person in my family to go to college, first person to graduate from college, and my parents put me through college. So I don't look at them as mediocre. I don't look at them as average. They are exceptional, and they did what they do to get their kids through all this stuff.
What you said is so different than what I'm talking about.
I am
the beige rage.
Same with them, and I am the same.
That is just not intellectually honest.
And the difference is what you said.
You see how she snaps on Envy every time he says something because he is the most in opposition to her? That is immaturity. If you can't sit there and take criticism, if you can't sit there and sit in what people are feeding back to you, that is emotional immaturity.
Said is, oh, you want to encourage and you want to do this. I do the same thing without putting people down.
I'm not putting people down. I'm being very honest.
I think you are, and people have been saying, I don't think you're listening. Like, as much as you talk, you're not listening to what people are saying.
Listening. I'm not bothered by that, though. I'm not going to be shamed.
Because people are hurt and they have opinions. Just like you have your opinion, you can't talk over people and not let people talk.
But you're also interrupting me, Envy.
I'm not. I was talking. You keep talking to me. I let you speak, and then I just started talking.
You got it.
I just started talking. I let you speak, and I waited for you to be quiet.
Hit dogs will holler.
And I started talking. You heard something that you didn't like, and you cut me off.
That's how it just went. Because once you start being intellectually dishonest.
Here we go. Now it's not Envy. Go ahead.
Hey,
No, that's exactly what happened.
Let's keep it.
No, but if I
cool.
give somebody the platform to speak, and I let you speak, then I speak, and you have to listen just like I listen. Just like with Weezy and Mandy, when they speak, I listen.
You're in his house.
It doesn't matter that we don't agree or disagree. We can have a conversation, but we got to respect each other in this conversation.
I agree.
I think
and part of that respect is being honest.
Yeah, I think the conversation.
She had to throw a shot at the end. You see that? That shows you she's really mad. As much as she tried to fly above it, and like I said, go back and watch the first 20 minutes of this interview, because as much as she tries to play it off as she's flying above all this conversation, and that she's in the right, every time she gets some pushback, she has an issue.
Conversation is healthy. If you listen to the whole Yana interview, I get a better sense of what you're trying to say. But the doubling down is what threw me completely off.
What threw you off about it?
It did sound like you was shitting on the working class.
I'm not shitting on the working class.
And if you weren't, I think you need to make that very clear.
Well, I've tried to make it clear with 3 different examples. I think y'all don't want to hear it. And that's okay, Envy. It's okay. Like you said, it's okay to disagree. Okay? So we can argue semantics back, because that's really, at this point, this is an argument around semantics. This is not around intention. This is not around feelings. Because we talked about the data. We've gone to the dictionary to define the words. Now it is, I heard what you said, but this is how it made me feel.
So what is Ebony K. Williams trying to say?
I am saying plainly, Charlamagne, that I believe in maximizing skill sets for Black Americans. I believe in ownership, entrepreneurship, and multiple streams of income as a way tethered to our liberation as Black people who were brought here in chattel some 16, 19 year. And if that makes you feel a way, maybe it's time to do something about it. That's all, and many people are. So when Envy talks about this example of his father being in law enforcement and being a business owner and doing 3-4 things on top of that, that is nowhere near mediocrity. That is called exceptionalism. That is called a black man availing himself to his highest calling and skill set. He talks about his mother and what she did. That is not mediocrity. By the way, there's nothing wrong with mediocrity. By definition, it's not bad nor good, it's mediocre. It is typical and it is regular. But if you are looking for me, if anybody is looking for me to put out a permission slip for people that look like me and come from where I come from, which is the diaspora, around average is good enough, medium is okay, just do enough to get by, no, I'm not gonna make that soft place for you to land.
Well, to Weezy's question, what is exceptional then?
It's very simple. Y'all keep acting like it's hard. Anything that goes above your minimum skill set. That's it. Whatever that is for you, that might be driving the Uber. Like I said, when my mother was driving the Charlotte-Mecklenburg school bus and working for UPS at night and putting herself through beauty school, all in a means to advance her skill set, so she could go do finger waves for 7 hours. And then when she realized, okay, I have a skill set on top of that, shout out to finger waves, okay? I don't want to stand on my feet doing finger waves 7 hours a day. I can do something different than that. She opened a child care facility. Then she opened another one, and then she bought tractor trailers, and then she had a fleet of trucks.
Did it bother you then when people brought up salary and money because you had a different point?
Yes, and that's
But
why I
you
said
did
in the
that in
clapback.
our Yana interview though. You brought up salary. When you set the conversation, you talked about how
Along
women are
with
making
many
more
other
money than
things,
men,
and
how they're
ownership.
buying houses more than men.
And that's
So
ownership.
you set that table.
Yeah, but even
because
what
it's
she's
a
saying too
several
in terms
factors.
of salary, she's saying multiple streams of income at the same time.
Yeah.
Which is why, okay, he's a bus driver. Your father did multiple things and owned properties.
No, he didn't do multiple things.
Well,
he was a mechanic. He only did
yeah,
one thing at one time. He just worked
but then
overtime
owning
to make sure it was
property-
good. He didn't own no properties, nothing. My pops he didn't invest. He doesn't know anything about the stock market. I'm the first person in my family to
And that's
invest
what
in
you do.
anything.
Okay.
Correct. He doesn't know anything about it. But I would also say that a lot of people in our communities don't have the opportunities that a lot of people do.
And
they
Ebony,
don't have
I don't think, Ebony, you're speaking enough to the disadvantages
they
that
don't
black
have the, they
people
don't have the
face
Systemic
advantages to
oppression.
get
that put
loans.
us in
They
these,
don't have the
your
ability
words,
to get
mediocre
jobs. They don't have those abilities. They don't have those abilities that a lot of my white neighbors now have.
In which, to be fair, I went to, shout out to Evans High School in Orlando, Florida. Our opportunities
Would
can
those
look.
jobs be considered mediocre?
So I'm not even gonna play this.
Look, you just poking a bear now.
It's
Now you
time.
just poking.
But let's let Ebony say her last words and get whatever she has to get out without interrupting, because we have to go. We have to cut this up. No, we have to cut it up because it goes on.
Of course.
Yeah.
No, understand. I will say this. To Envy's point of our people not knowing, I agree with you, which is why I am so incensed and I'm so committed to having this conversation. Right now, if y'all, you single family homeowners, if you need a tree cut from your yard, that truck that's gonna cut it down is not cranking for less than $5,000.
That's right.
So we have to talk about those things. And so y'all can get stuck in mediocre and average and the terminology and your hurt feelings if you want to. I suggest you get out of those feelings and you start thinking about HVAC. You start thinking about heating and air. You start thinking about, oh, what would it look like to be an electrician and own my own bed? And again, in ownership, not working for a salary job for somebody else unless that is your maximum skill set. So if you're somebody that says, hey, I don't want to take on the work, or I cannot take on the work of balancing the books and running the taxes and doing, got it, no problem. Then go do that.
So
But
those aren't average jobs.
it's around your skill set. It's not about the job being average, it's your skill set. If you know that, if C and D, back to the academics, if that is your best, God bless you. I just know for a lot of us, that is the bigotry of low expectations. That is an academic social science study done by a man named Michael Gerber, okay? And it's important that we have expectations for our black children that start at the top, to Mandy's point earlier, that says, I see the best in you, I expect the best in you. If you fall short of that, let's look at why that is, and then we go about the business of black collaboration.
You
and
told
excellence.
one big lie today.
What was that?
You are an entertainer. Because to be honest with you, nothing you said in this moment was wrong. But the clip that you put out,
It was salacious on purpose.
there's no way, Ebony. Because I believe you. I know you want better for us. I know that you're speaking from a place of honesty and love. But that clip was entertainment. And I think
I don't
one
think it was
can't exist without the other.
Listen, I'm not saying I'm not entertaining.
Yeah.
You know, I can see, because of course that's a part of my personality. It's a part of the nature of the work. That's my whole career path. When you see what you're just.
She tried to say that she doesn't entertain, that she educates. This was supposed to be an educational moment.
describing, is I'm taking deep intellectual capacity and I'm marrying it with personality and aesthetic packaging that is palatable for global consumption.
So basically, you kind of got to make them feel bad.
No, I don't have to make anybody feel bad. And, y'all can stay on that. Y'all can take that to the grave.
For them to read it, for them to want more.
My intention.
See, she's even giving her bail, and she can't understand that somebody's trying to help her out of what she just whipped up. No, she's going to fall right back into the shit.
It was never for anybody to feel bad, but to Envy's point, intention means nothing. If I step on your toe and I didn't mean to, your toe still hurts.
Yes!
So I'm not debating intention.
Yeah.
I'm saying it might have been painful, regardless of my intention. And yet, how do we move on from it? Because again, I'm not preoccupied. I'm not gonna not say what I believe and feel.
For everyone. So all of these jobs that we're talking about, that is those people's version of success.
Yeah.
That is their American dream. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with them having that?
I think you know the answer. Nothing, Charlamagne.
Okay.
Nothing. Like, come on, now we're talking circularly, to Envy's point. There's nothing wrong with that. I am simply...
You just won't date them. You don't view them as human. That's probably where it ends.
I think we all agree with that, and what Envy's saying and what everybody else is saying is you can say all of that, and that's true, without calling people average, mediocre, typical.
But that's what it is.
Thank you.
Stuck in the low expectations.
You know how I know Ebony
of
more
bigotry.
educated than me? If Yana asked me that question, I'd say, well, what he look like?
Well, okay, that's fine, yeah. Again, Charlamagne,
I just don't think
fine.
those are words that should be used to describe the working
And
class.
I think that's I think per the dictionary, and per the facts. So again, we spent 40 minutes talking about something that's very simple and unfortunate that this is really where we landed, Charlamagne, because we're talking about personal projections around defined words. That's really what
Still don't get it, y'all. She still don't get it.
this whole, and that's why brother is nodding.
But you can weaponize
we had this
defined. You
conversation.
can weaponize
Yeah.
defined
But I'm not-
words.
but
to be
don't put that
negative.
on me,
But
because I'm not
whether
weaponizing
you
it.
think you did or not, I told you I think you did.
Well, you can think whatever you want,
So I told you, I think you did.
Charlamagne.
And a lot of
I
other
know.
people did too.
I don't care what. It could be Jesus Christ thinking it. I know what I said. I know.
And see, that's the problem. Nobody can check me, boo. Real Housewives. You know all that bull.
What
Jesus
I
Christ, you
said.
better listen. For Jesus Christ, you better
Well,
listen.
you listen.
Better
All I'm
listen.
telling you
I do
is-
appreciate the
listen.
broader
He said you better listen
conversation.
to Jesus.
That's right.
Yeah,
well,
no,
we thank you for
I appreciate the
for your
platform. I
conversation.
really do. But let's be very careful that we are not so blindsided, stuck, and regressive in our feelings that we're not able to hear clearly
Still talking down to people.
the facts and the truth.
Y'all can't hear me because I'm here. Y'all are here. You can't hear me because I'm here.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Ebony K. Williams.
That's it.
All right, well,
What do y'all think about that? Ebony K. Williams has just put on a clinic in unaccountability. This is the height of irresponsible thinking. And you say that you're so concerned with the collective. You say that you're concerned with the black community and you want better for black men. But everything you said was a dodge around. You literally came on here doing your best PR spin job on why you weren't wrong. When people are literally telling you, overwhelmingly telling you that you were wrong in how you stated what you stated. Even if what you meant was something that was more of a collectivist, more of a aspirational, more of a Dr. Claude Anderson Powernomics message, you didn't deliver it well, Ebony. And that's where it ends. But it became personalized when it became about your dating life. It became personalized when it became about a bus driver. Once again, I apologize to Dr. Yana Van Sant because she didn't hear anything. She's so indoctrinated with whatever ideology that she is practicing, whatever ideology that Ebony is practicing, she couldn't hear any. She couldn't hear DJ Envy, who literally spoke the voice of the people. So shout out to Envy for actually speaking up for the working man. Once again, we're only talking about men. There were a lot of women. There are bus drivers that were highly upset with what Ebony said. And she can't even understand that. She can't even hear that. That's where I talk about the emotional immaturity. You got a 40-year-old woman, 39-year-old woman who can't be wrong. Where have you heard that before? Who gets emotional, who wants to argue, who wants to keep arguing a point even when they're proven wrong, who can't listen to somebody else's perspective to make a better assessment of what's going on. And that's a problem. I posit that that emotional immaturity is probably why she hasn't found the man that she so desperately seeks. And the clock is ticking. So I wish you growth. I wish you prosperity. I wish you intellectual honesty. This ain't it, Ebony. And I don't care how many millions of dollars you got, how big your house in Harlem is. If this is what you're coming with, it's unacceptable. And you need to take that, internalize it, and make some adjustments. Anyway, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification for all uploads. This is Faucette Media.